What's up, guys? D-Rock1992 here. For this next video and for my next movie review, I'm going to be reviewing a movie I just recently saw in theaters. Actually, it was last Friday that I saw it in theaters. I saw it with a few buddies, including a collaborator of mine, Arkham Assassin. I saw it with him and a couple other buddies. Went to see it out in theaters. It was a much anticipated movie for me for the year because I enjoyed the first movie of this series, of this franchise, so much. You know, I was looking forward to the second one. The movie I'm talking about is Ted 2. I had reviewed Ted before. You can see that on my channel here, D-Rock1992. You can check out that review. I really liked the first one a lot. It was funny. It was Seth MacFarlane Family Guy humor for sure. It definitely was. This one is much of the same. Real quick, I will talk about the plot. So Ted is happily married to his girlfriend Tammy Lynn from the first film. They were an item in the first film. And they finally tie the knot in the second movie here. And unfortunately, they both fight. They're both they're a fighting couple. Meanwhile, John Bennett, played again by Mark Wahlberg, he's not with his girl anymore, played by Mila Kunis in the first movie. They broke up. This is 6 months after they broke up. And unfortunately, he's kind of given up. He's kind of given up in finding someone else. So basically, what happens with Ted and Tammy Lynn is they argue a lot. Then Ted thinks about having a kid. You know, he thinks, having a kid will help out their situation of marriage. So he tries to get sperm donors. First, in a hilarious one from Tom Brady, New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady. He tries to get sperm from him. It's a funny scene, so you'll definitely have to check it out for that. For that scene, at least. And then he eventually goes on. He tries to get sperm from Sam Jones, Flash Gordon. Comes back. He is back in the first from the first film, and he tries to get sperm from him, but Flash Gordon says no. Sam Jones says no. John Bennett volunteers, and after a little accident at the sperm bank, there's not a lot of options there for Ted. Unfortunately, it's been known. It's because Ted is trying to search for a way to adopt a kid. Unfortunately, there are red flags. Ted is branded property since he is a teddy bear, and there is a lawsuit in court that proves that Ted is actually property and not a real human being. So Ted, throughout this film, has to prove that he is a human. That he is a human being, not just a teddy bear property. Not just a property of someone else, basically. So he has to prove that. It sounds ridiculous and all that because Ted is a teddy bear, and of course, teddy bears are property. In the first film, John Bennett, when he was younger, his parents bought him Ted. Basically, and that's how he became property. Through magic in the first film, he became a real anthropomorphic teddy bear, basically. And yeah, so the court, he has to prove that he is a human in the eyes of the court, and he has to stop the evil Donnie, who comes back from the first film, played by Giovanni Ribisi. And he has to stop him, and he has to team up with a novice lawyer who is played by Amanda Seyfried. and he also asks for the help of Morgan Freeman, who is in this movie. Morgan Freeman's in this movie. Morgan Freeman's in everything lately. But yeah, Morgan Freeman is in this movie in a supporting role. Go figure. And a little spoiler alert, he swears in this film. When I heard him swear a couple times, it's like, Morgan Freeman swears? What? It was shocking to hear that. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the plot. I am glad, first off, that Mila Kunis did not come back for the second film. I am probably one of the few that was glad. I didn't like her character all that much in the first film. I thought she was just there, basically. And it just wasn't a good portrayal. I mean, it could have been funnier. It could have been a funnier portrayal. Now, John Bennett's love interest in this second film is the novice lawyer played by Amanda Seyfried. Amanda Seyfried's not that bad in this film. She is a little better than Mila Kunis. However, she could have been a little funnier, honestly, but she held her own. I mean, she more or less held her own, and her being so young, they pick on her about pop culture references and stuff like that she doesn't quite understand. So it is kind of funny to see. There is one comparison, actually. I'm not going to spoil it, but there is one comparison in that film to her and a character that I'm not going to spoil, but if you've seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was funny when I heard it. But yeah, Amanda Seyfried's okay in this film. Ted, Seth MacFarlane is Ted, and is funny as ever in this film, and yeah, he's very funny. And Mark Wahlberg, Mark Wahlberg as John Bennett is funny as well. I mean, those two. It is the Seth MacFarlane show. The first movie was the Seth MacFarlane show, but Mark Wahlberg played a good Robin to Seth MacFarlane's Batman. Same thing in this film, basically. So they're both funny, and they both carry this film for sure, and they carried the first one. One character that did not need to be in Ted 2, because I did not like his character in the first movie, was Donnie, played by Giovanni Ribisi, the main villain in this film. If they come out with a Ted 3, I do not want Donnie, I do not want Giovanni Ribisi and his character anywhere near that movie. I really do not like that character at all. It's just weird. It's just, it'd be one thing if his character was weird and funny, but he's not funny. His character's just weird. That first film proved it, and the second one, they did not need to bring him into this film, and it was disappointing. Another disappointing outing from Giovanni Ribisi as Donnie. It just wasn't, I just did not like this character at all. And, yeah, like I said, if they come out with a Ted 3, which I really hope they do, you get rid of Donnie. Get rid of him. Get rid of Ribisi. Do not put him in Ted 3. Do not do it. So, anyway, Jessica Barth, who plays Tammy Lynn, Ted's girlfriend and wife, eventually the wife, she's pretty funny. She's got that Boston accent. She's actually not too bad, but she is not center stage in this film. It is Ted and John Bennett. Mostly Ted, though. So, overall, I gave the first Ted a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was really funny. And I thought it was really funny, and it was touching as well. This one, I think, is more touching than the first film, honestly. I think it does have a little more heart than the first film did, but I also think it's just a little less funnier than the first film. So, yeah, I think Ted 2 is a sequel, and I'm a guy who likes sequels better than the originals. For example, Anchorman 2. I like Anchorman 2 a lot better than I did the first Anchorman. The first Anchorman was very good, but 2 is just better. Horrible Bosses 2. I really enjoyed that more than the first one. Just a couple of examples right there. But it's the opposite in this occasion, because Ted 2, I think, is just a little lesser. I mean, it's just a little... the first one is a little better than the second one, honestly. But not that much worse. Ted 2 does have its moments. It does have slower moments than the first one did, than the first movie did. It does have its slower moments. But when the moments of funniness come, it was funny in spots, basically. But in those spots, it just was really funny, basically. So this was it was a very solid, good comedy film that just wasn't quite as good as the original. I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I still think it's an enjoyable movie, and if it comes out, and when it comes out on DVD or anything like that, when it comes out away from theaters and all that, I'll definitely see it again, for sure. It's just enjoyable enough for me to say rewatchability. For me to say, this movie is rewatchable. The critics definitely agree, too, that Ted 2 was worse than the first movie. Ted 2 has a 46% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, whereas I think the first Ted had a 66%, if I'm not mistaken. So, there you go. I mean, it definitely is a worse sequel. It definitely is just a little worse than the first movie. The first Ted movie, but Ted 2, a good movie in its own right, honestly. And I enjoyed it. I had a good time with Ted 2. So that is it for my review on Ted 2. D-Rock 1992 out.